welcome back. Today we're going to install the Rosette. I'm not going to go through the whole process of making a Rosette just because it's really complicated. There's a whole bunch of steps that go into making one of these. For a lot of guitar makers, it's a source of pride to say, I make my own Rosettes, and I do. But it's also a good place to really run up a bill on my clients, and I really don't like to do that either. So when I make Rosettes, I typically make them up in bulk, in a log. So I can get 50 to 75 at a time. It really takes a lot of the pain and headache out of this, because if I had to do one of these, it would drive me up a wall every single time. So previously I've struck a line up the center line of my guitar on the inside, because I want this to be the outside, so this is going to be the inside. Now I have to figure out where the center of this hole is in relation to the body, and because I don't like to measure, and anytime I measure that runs the risk of a mistake, I use templates. Yeah, and they take, a little bit of careful measuring, but, careful measuring once, and this is a multi-generational piece that we can continually use. So I only use this to find the sound hole, unless I'm making a flated model, at which point then I mark out the braces, but all I need is to mark this out. So if I have my pencil, which is there, got a pencil. Alright, so I'm going to just mark this here. And I've given myself some room up here and room down here. I've got leeway if need be. So I've got this line, which to me represents the point at which I need to drill for my trammel. Let's take this over to the drill press. We'll put in a quick hole, and then we'll get the hole routed for this. So here we are at the drill press. I've got a 1/4-inch drill bit chucked in. I've got a backing board, and I've got my piece. And one of the things that I like to do, even though I don't plan on drilling through, is I like to make sure that my bit passes through into the center hole here, because you can tell what kind of drill press operator there is if there's a corona of idiot marks along their drill press. We've only missed a couple times, so we're not that big of an idiot, I suppose. One of the other things that I've done is I took a small awl and I put a little tiny punch right at the center line where I want it to be, because to me a pencil line is very nebulous, and a nebulous pencil line leads to inaccuracy. So for me, I'd rather not go off of a pencil line, but use a pencil line as my guide to center it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this little tiny brad point into there as I'm running it down, and just drill through very gently for the center of the Rosette. So let's do that real quick. And that's all you need to do. You just need to put a little tiny hole, so this way it's really clean, because we drilled against this backing plate. Didn't have to drill all that deep into the backing plate, because anything more than that is unnecessary. Never mind all the unnecessary holes that are drilled into it. Actually, a lot of those have other uses, and there was a necessity to go that deep. But needless to say, let's go put the Rosette in. So here we are back on our work surface, and I've got these really big, huge counters all over the place. Love them. But this is one of those pieces where I used to not be able to function in my shop without this, because I never had good counters like this at my old place. What this is a 1/4-inch hole. You can see that we've run around it a couple times from the various sound holes that we've cut out. But that attaches to this trammel point for basically as was quoted in the Rob Skellin video, a big scary compass. I believe the word dangerous is in there too. But needless to say, this thing is big, scary, and it's a compass, so it's very accurate. So what I need to do is I need to set the center point of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure across. I need to figure out the inside diameter. So I'm seeing 82.5 millimeters from edge to edge, roughly, and I'm going to take a couple measurements because they're never exactly right. And yeah, I'm seeing about 82.5. So 82.5 divided by 2 is 41.25. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure 41. Oh, yes, I'm touching the blade, but it's not plugged in, so this isn't going to do anything. This is a Craftsman rabbit bit, which I have custom ground to fit exactly this width of my rosette. So this way, all I have to do is take one pass. If you're using a Dremel or something, you can take multiple passes, start from the middle and work your way out and work your way in. It's very, very simple. I do that for a lot of weird shaped ones, but since this is my standard rosette, I'm going to do that. So let's see, the number I used was 41 1/4. So this is kind of difficult because I've got this giant pin in the way, and I got to measure to this. I've got a mark out here that's exactly 3 millimeters away. And this is really confusing. This is more strange than high school calculus, so I've been told. You've got 41 1/4 and then minus 3 millimeters. So that would be 38 1/4 to the edge, and that's exactly what I'm measuring out here, give or take a hair's breadth, at which point this can either stretch or compress a little bit. What I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to plug this in. Actually, I'll show you how to do this. So it's just like that, where you can like straight through it, line it up. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but then this goes on here. The inclination would be to go all the way around because you want to make a circle, which I understand that. But because this is broken, and I like to have as much surface area consolidated underneath the fingerboard as possible, what I actually do is I go off of the center line. So this edge, or the back side of this, is going to go around starting here, and it's going to come all the way around to this edge, which gives us essentially a V, where at that point we're going to just trim up our excess over here, wherever that might be. Then it will be ready to go, and then also a little bit of cleanup and then some glue. So let's get our ears on and buzz this. And I don't remove that router until it's completely spun down. Now, yes, there's a little bit of this, but all I have to do is hit it with a little bit of 120 sandpaper on a block, and it cleans it up beautifully. So, there we go. Let's grab a little bit of 120 sandpaper and get that cleaned up. 120, block, a little bit of cork. We're not going crazy here, and actually I'm using my fingers to kind of pull out whatever excess bits are here. Alright, there we go. Grab a brush, because again, I don't like to blow dust in my shop. That looks pretty good. I want to test fit to see how things look, and I like to get it lined up. And looks like I'm going to have to compress this one ever so slightly. But that's fairly normal. Yeah, that'll work. So, I need to trim the rosette here and here. And then I'll trim this up on the bandsaw. Okay, so now, at least for this, I like to line up the center of this. I like this flower to be lined up with my center line. So I know that if I have that lined up, then it'll be perfect. Now to glue this, I'm going to use my hot hide glue because it's ready to go. And then I have 2 pieces of MDF with, just a lag bolt. Doesn't have to be this comically long. And I've got a couple pieces of newspaper, because nothing stops glue like newspaper. This is just gonna get sandwiched down. I've got a couple clamps and it'll be really quick and easy. So, without further ado, yep. Gonna work quick here. Not too terribly worried about cleanliness because this is all gonna get scraped away anyways. Oops, there we go. Okay. That's there, that's in. This piece over the top. And clamp, 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 clamp. And just like that, our rosette is installed. It's going to be dry. Once this is ready to come out of the clamps, I'm going to give it about another half a day after I pull it out of the clamps to make sure that any latent moisture is removed before I scrape this off. The next time you see this, I will have it scraped off just to spare you the pain of watching me scrape. Anyways, if you like this sort of content, please subscribe. You know, I've got merch on my website and the links down below. And, you know, please, you know, share this with your friends. I really love doing this. For $500 off any deposit of one of my guitars, use promo code YouTube. And we'll see you next time.